Welcome to the Modern Application Development 2 screencast. In this screencast, we'll see how to send emails using Python and SMTP. Usually, you will send an email through Gmail or any other web client, but usually, even before web clients became popular, there used to be thicker clients like email clients like Thunderbird and stuff. Even today, a lot of people use a thick client or an installable client like Outlook or Thunderbird. You could simulate the same thing in Python and send emails across. Now, Python supports it internally. Before we start, the protocol that is used to send emails is called SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Now, if this is you or your email client, also called I think MUA, mail user agent, right? And that sends like the email to MSA, which is your SMTP server, right? And then that sends it to like MTA. Here, this is an MTA. MTA like sends it across to the internet. This is called message transfer agent, and it sends it across to the internet until it reaches the some user, right? I mean, I'm not going to tell you a full flow of the email, but this is important because this talks SMTP here. SMTP is, I like to what HTTP is for web, SMTP is for emails, and it usually runs on port 25. It can run on any other ports too. Some providers use a different port. Now here, instead of MUA, it can be like a clients like Thunderbird or your Outlook Express, any of those, or it could be your Python code too. That actually connects to MSA or a SMTP server, sometimes generically called, and then sends an email, right? So now Python actually has a built-in library called SMTP lib that we can use to send emails, and Python also gives you some examples how to do it. We'll do our own example, but now when we write this, when we send an email, it actually goes to someone, right? We don't want to do this. If we do that, we are going to spam someone, and we're going to waste of emails, right? And also, if you're testing, you will probably be sending hundreds of messages, and you don't want to spam someone's user account, and it's just waste of energy transferring mail across the net. So what we'll do is we will install what we call a fake SMTP server that doesn't send anywhere the emails, but it supports SMTP protocol, so we can validate it and we can check it, right? So it will be a fake SMTP server here that will run locally itself on our local machine on whatever the port we want, and we'll check emails on this, right? Because our program should be able to send it to it, and we can check there the emails. So it becomes easy to check and easy to test and send hundreds of messages, and see whether the format is correct, or it's connecting well, or error handling is done well, etc., etc. Now the fake SMTP server that we are going to use is called MailHog. It's an open source project. It's available for all the operating systems, Windows, Mac, Linux. You can download and run it, right? There are many other fake SMTP servers too. I had a blog post some time back. You can check them. There are 3 at least, right? I generally use MailHog. So you can start MailHog and then use it. We'll see how to do that. Before we start, let's set up the project. I have our simple project set up. Example pi. I'm going to write code in this example pi, and then there is requirements with just Jinja, and then local setup just sets up the environment and installs everything in the requirements. I've already done that, right? I've already set up the server, right? Sorry, I've already set up the project. I've already installed that Jinja 2 and set up I'm inside the virtual host, as you can see, so I can start running the program. Now before we start, we need 4 things, right, to connect to a SMTP server. let's go back to our drawing. So to connect to this SMTP server, we need like a host, which is a URL, on which port it is running, what's the username and password, right? So we need all these four things to connect to the SMTP server and run it, right? Now let's run the fake SMTP server. Okay, now just it's run by just calling MailHog. It starts SMTP server at, as you can see here, on localhost 0080 all zeros, which is localhost, and 1025. And it's also saying there is a web UI it is providing at 8025 for us to verify the emails. So if you copy this URL and open this here, let me just copy link. Okay, so you can see like an inbox, right? Which is, inbox our fake SMTP server for us to just check. When we send an email to this using this port to anyone, it should show up there. Now let's start with our code. First thing is to import, right? Import the main classes that we are going to use. Let's start from there. I'm going to import SMTP lib, right, which is the basic class. Okay, let me just open this again. Yeah, SMTP lib, basic module that we are going to use, which is defined here. This is the one we are going to use, and it has like connecting to SMTP server, then actually send email. Yeah, there you go, send message. That's the one we are going to use. There are some examples here we can directly use. Yeah, I'm just going to write that instead of using it from there. Now we need four things to connect to the server. I'm going to put those four things here. Usually you don't put it in the code, you will read it from the config, right? Right, we are running on localhost, we are running on 1025, yeah, as a SMTP, and MailHog doesn't come with any user. It allows any user and any password for testing purpose. So you can set the password as empty and sender email as any email, right? Basically your email, who is the application which is sending an email. Right, now we'll write a function to send an email, right? We'll just write send email. What are the things that are required to send an email? You need a to address to whom to send, right? And you need a message to send message content, and you need a subject to send. Okay, right? You need these three things to send an email. Now we have to create an SMTP message to send the email. So for which we need to create a multi-part message. That I'm going to paste it here. So we are going to create a message my multi-part and set the from address to sender address, which is our address, to address to to address, and subject to subject. Now we have to create a MIME text and attach it to the main content, right? Which is our message. Let's say our message is an HTML content. You can send message as text or HTML. I'm going to create MIME text with that message of HTML and attach it to the message, right? So this becomes the body of the email, and then we are just going to connect to the server and send it, right? Let's connect to the server, which is just opening to the host and port, and then logging into the server after that with our address and password, and then sending the message using the built-in send message, right? And then quitting as in shutting down the connection. Alright, I'm shutting down the connection, and then I'm just returning true if everything goes well. Okay, you can do a try catch if you can't connect to the server, or some server throws some error while sending the message. You can try catch and return false. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it at this. So we have used my multipart, mime text, SMTP, etc. So I'm going to just um, import those. Right. So I've imported this. Okay, that should suffice. Now we just need to send a message, right? I'm just going to write a main function where we are going to send some message. Okay. Let's say we had 5 users to whom we want, 2 users from whom we want to send an email, right? So I'll just say there are 2 users whose names are, I mean, maybe this is coming from your database or CSV, wherever that is, and their name is Raj and Yasmin, and their emails are here. We are going to send an email to them for user in new users, send message or send email, right? Okay, to address will be user of email. I'm just going to say subject as hello, not going to do anything special here, and message just simple welcome. Welcome to the new world. Okay, and then since I've written the main, I'm just going to call that main. Okay, so this, if you try, it should send 2 emails to these 2 folks using this function and using this SMTP server, right? Let's go try run it. Go here, clear Python example.py. Okay, there's some error. Oh, this is not, it doesn't need this, right? This is still subject. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's sent. It's now if I go here, you can see this is an older email. So there is welcome to the new world, welcome to the new world, Raj, and things like that. This is a previous one. Don't worry about that. So the 2 emails are sent, because last time I think it sent an email and broke at this point, so it sent 1 email. That's why you would see this email. Hence we have to do this, local fake SMTP, like, to catch all of this and test all of this. Now we are sending an email, one by one, and we have the messages, but usually your messages won't be like this, right? Your messages will be a longer email with templatize saying hello Raj, etc, etc. Now you can write them here, or you can have a template file, right? Let's say we are sending a welcome message, so you will do welcome email dot html, right? So I'm just going to create a very simple template. It's an HTML template. It says I'm going to say hello, whatever the name is, and welcome to our learning application. We have attached application guide for you. If you have any question, please contact us. As soon as they register, we are going to send this email, right? Welcome email. I'll just use this in our example. Now we have to parse the template, right? So we have to parse the template, which means we have to load the template, which means we have to import Jinja. So that's why I've installed Jinja. So let's say we'll import Jinja, and then we'll load the template. Right, we'll load the template, and this is the name of the template. So I'll just load it with this. Right, I'm just going to, okay, I'm not going to return, it's going to be message. is equal to that, and it will be message, correct, and this will be welcome email, right. And where does this data come from? This data should come from the data of the user, right. So that will be actually, since we are reading, let's go to the template, name from the data, we can just pass that as the data, that user is the data, right, this whole thing, and it reads name from here. Now what will happen, it's going to parse the template, it's going to load the template, and it's going to render the template as an HTML content with user details, like saying hello. Then it's going to send the message. Let's run it and see, right. Okay, something else happened. Position follows keyword argument. Okay, just don't need this, or you can just do message equal to message, just for clarity. Okay, it sent an email. So here you go, welcome email. To Yasmin it says dear Yasmin, and to Raj it says dear Raj, right. So this is how you templatize the email and send it, right. And now we don't need to do rendering all of this like in this loop here. We can actually write a function which will do that, and you can just write a function instead of doing that here. You can remove that, and then you can just do like message equal to format message welcome email. That's a template I'm going to use, and send data, so that you could use this across, many types of emails. There could be a welcome email, there could be a report email, etc., etc., right. Now we can go one more step and have a function called send welcome message, and do that independently and push it outside the main, so that it's simpler. Then you can have multiple functions similar to this. There's no attachment yet, so we can move these two inside that. That's what it is, like it is like that. And instead of here we can call send message equal to data, right. Data is equal to user. This should work, right. We can just do like a simple messaging now, just to check. I'll just change the subject email to 1 just to identify. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, there's some error. Oh, it's not dash, it's a underscore. Okay, user is not defined. Okay, so in this function I think it is called data. Okay, it's gone. Inbox, you can see welcome email 1, it's still working well. Now we should be able to, for each of the email, we should be able to send tell that it's an HTML, or whether we want to send plain text. So we can actually send the content type, right. We can say here we can add another attribute to this called content, or content type. By default it can be text, right. If they send HTML, we'll do something. So, and it's much simpler to implement HTML or text content. You can do if HTML, do this, else, or you can do if else many thing. Right, it's plain text. Plain text is done by plain. Here the default value is text, so it will by default take. We don't need to do anything. It will still run, right. It will still run, and we got 2 more mails here, right. Okay, that's done. Now we'll go one more step, and we'll do send an attachment, because our email says we have attached an application guide for you, right. We have to send an application guide for them. So I'm going to create a simple PDF file, and use that, or we can attach anything else too. Let's create an attachment. So I have a simple PDF file here called manual.pdf. It just says welcome to the Apple. This is an example manual, right? So we want to send it to every user, which means we have to attach it to the email, right? So email attachments are also kind of attached to the body as an extension, as a payload, and it's encoded using base 64, right? So we'll have to add that part. So let's say if we have an attachment IATTSH meant underscore file, let's make it by default none. We are not sending anything. And if there's an attachment, we'll attach to the mail and send it. Okay, so I'll do if there is an attachment file, I'll attach to the main thing. To do that, we have to read the file, and we have to actually convert into octet stream and convert it again, encode it with base 64 and then send it. So first step is to open it. I'm going to open it as an attachment. It's read opening, then then add a file as application octet stream. So this is how you do that. You create a MIME base with application and octet stream, then you read the contents of this file and then add it as a payload. Now you have to add this part to the main message. Before you add it to the main message, you need to encode in base 64, right? So we have encoded as base 64 now, sending the part to the thing, and we encoded as base 64. Now we need to add the header telling that this is an attachment, and name of the file would be whatever, attachment.pdf or manual.pdf or whatever that is. So that's what I'm doing here, adding the header. Then I'm just going to add to the message, right? Add attachment to the message, and I'm just going to put some message here which we can be shared, where you can read more about how body parts are designed, how all attachments are designed, if you are interested in additional information. So now we are done attaching to the message, and then the rest is same. Now we can send a attachment like here, along with data is equal to user. In this welcome message, you can say content is equal to HTML and attachment file is equal to our manual.pdf. You can send any type of attachment, any kind of file. I'm just going to format it. Okay, so you can send manual PDF, or here that since we have it, or you can generate on instantaneously and send it also, because you don't need actually a file, you just need the content of a file and type, and you can give any name, right? And then you can send it. Let's send this and see if the attachment goes through. Okay, there is some import errors, so we have to import MIME base, we have to import encoders, right? Let's import them, and okay, it's sent. Now if I see, okay, here is the one. Okay, you can in this MailHog, it doesn't show attachment as part of it. You can just check here in the MIME. You can see that there's an attachment you can download, and there is that file, right? So if you were sending to the regular email clients, it would show at the bottom. So here it doesn't, right? You can see all the headers, etc., etc., right? You can do all kinds of checking. See, now even to test a simple flow, we have sent so many emails. Hence, the advantage of using fake SMTP locally, because you can try as many ways as you want, all of that. Now we are doing it like this here. If you make this as the task in Celery, you could make this as the task here, and it can be launched independently, and there could be as many tasks as like as many users in this, and they all connect simultaneously and send messages. Of course, based on the number of workers you have. If you have 5 workers, 5 emails will be sent in parallel, right? And that's how you actually send many mails, if you're sending a mass mailer type thing. Of course, there are some providers who provide instead of SMTP, they also provide a layer on top of it, which will be a web API, right? So it will be like a RESTful API that you can use to send it. But SMTP is the most common standard protocol, and it's easy to switch between different SMTP providers because they all follow the same protocol, right? That's why it's easier to use SMTP, and it's kind of versatile. Okay, that's it for today. Happy emailing. Bye bye.